For most of my photography career, I've been a landscape photographer. My portfolio is full of landscape photos, and I absolutely love that genre of photography. But today, I wanted to try something a little bit different. Now, I'm not going to try and string you along. The type of photography I'm trying today is documentary photography. This is a little different to landscape photography in that it covers a lot of genres. So today I'm going to explain what it is, how to do it, and why you might want to try and give it a go, no matter what type of photography you're into.
This video is sponsored by Epidemic Sound.
So let's start by answering the question, what is documentary photography? According to Wikipedia, documentary photography usually refers to a popular form of photography used to chronicle events or environments both significant and relevant to history and historical events, as well as everyday life. It is typically undertaken as professional photojournalism or real-life reportage, but it may also be an amateur, artistic, or academic pursuit. Basically, it's a photo series about a specific place, event, or people. And it's a really good form of photography to practice because it really makes you think more than just about one photo. With normal landscape photography, we're often thinking about how we can get that sort of really epic shot. Now, my portfolio is filled with them. One photo for one trip out where I really concentrate hard on getting a specific photo for that location. With documentary photography, on the other hand, though, you really have to think about linking a series of photos together. It's not just one photo you're going there for. You're going to document something about something else. And because of that, it really forces you to think about the story behind the pictures you're taking. And I'm really excited to try this form of photography because this is one of the more traditional routes of becoming a professional photographer, sort of photojournalism, writing an article or something with your photos about a specific thing. And it's something I've not really tried before. I've done lots of other forms of photography, street photography, landscape photography, professional photography, but never documentary photography. So I've done a bit of research. I'm going to share with you how you can do it and also why you really should try it if you never have before. So a lot of the rules of storytelling apply in this situation as well. And there's three main types of shots that we want to get to establish a good series of photos for our photo documentary. The first thing you obviously need, though, is a subject to do a documentary about. Today, I've chosen to come out and look at these old abandoned mines. Now, I'm not going to be able to get anything artistic today. It's a really bright blue sky day. It's well after golden hour. And they aren't the most interesting subject. But if I could find a way of telling a story with a series of photos, then that automatically creates the interest rather than trying to produce some sort of art with our landscape photography. So here you can see we've got this lovely scene of a mine shaft backed by these beautiful Shropshire hills. And this is the first type of shot we want. We want an establishing shot, a wide angle showing our subject in its environment. That can be the people that you're photographing, in this case the buildings that I'm photographing or the mine shafts, the environment you're photographing, but your first in the series should be a wide shot so that the viewer can put themselves in the scene and get a feeling for what it is that they're about to view. So I'm going to have to do this HDR because it is very bright and there's not enough dynamic range on my camera to get all the detail in the shadows and the highlights today. So there we have our first shot in our series, the wide angle. Now, you only really need one of those shots to set the story. Now we go on to the two next types. But before I do that, one of the main tools I use for my storytelling, as you well know, is the music that I use in my videos. And I really want to thank Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video, because without them, I wouldn't be able to tell anywhere near as many stories in my videos. In fact, there's something really useful that I want to show you back in the office.
So as photographers, we're becoming more and more reliant on videos in order to share our work and get more engagement. That's the way things are trending. And a big part of those videos is the music that we use. Now, obviously, we can't just use any old music because otherwise our work won't get shared, we'll get banned. And Epidemic Sound is a great service. They're a company that works with lots of different artists from all over the world that share their work so that we can use their songs on any of our work. And let me show you this really useful feature on their site. So here you can see we've got Epidemic Sound's browse page, and as you can see there's loads of options of music that you can use, all sorts of different styles, genres, basically any music you could wish for they've got. They've worked with artists from all over the world to make sure that we've got any sort of music that we want. But with that amount of music, it can be quite confusing to know what to use. Well, they've done something really useful. If you go on your search and just type in something that you're interested in, for example, photography, as you can see, it suggests a whole load of playlists that Epidemic Sound have gathered together to help people like us to share our work. So if I click on this one here, the theme of photography, here you can see that under that theme they've given us 6 playlists all to do with photography and different types of photography as well, which is really useful. So say you're into street photography or drone footage even, there's playlists that have been built specifically for that. My personal favourite of these ones is the cinematic photography one. That sort of suits my video style a bit more. And as you can see, I've already liked different songs within here, and the collection they have is really good. So if you click that link down in the description, you can check out these playlists for yourself and see if it's something that you'd like to start using in your work. And if you do click that link in the description, it lets Epidemic Sound know that your mate sent you. So now let's get back out to the field where we can see the next stage in getting a really good documentary photo.
So when it comes to our second style of shot, we've put our viewer in the scene. Now we want to tell them the story of that scene. And that's where your medium angle shots come in. Sort of fill the frame with your subject, but don't get in on too much detail. You're not trying to show off the environment now. This is where you start telling the individual story of your subject. So here I've come a bit closer to the mine shaft. I'm going to use a wide aperture so our subject really stands out. And I'm going to make the composition super simple so that the viewer is in no doubt about what the picture is about. Remember, we're not trying to make art here. We're trying to document something and tell a story. If you're not worried about being up for golden hour because you're just out on a nice blue sky day and you're not worried about creating artistic landscape shots, then it's really good being out on a day like today. I didn't have to get up super early for golden hour. I just came out when I was ready, found my subject and started taking photos. Honestly, this is a really fun process of photography, especially because you have to think differently about it. That's one of the best things. Now, when it comes to our medium angle shots, we want more than just one of these because unlike the established shot where we're putting our viewer in the scene, this is what we're telling our story with. So my recommendation would be to get at least 2 of these medium shots. I'll go on to explain why in a second. So I think for our next shot, we need to switch locations to one of the other mines. So I'll see you there. So I'm not going to lie, I'm finding it a bit of a difficulty finding my next thing subject to photograph. I went and looked at what was supposed to be the main sort of mine shaft here. It turns out it's just a wreck now. there's nothing there. So I've come in hunt of something different, and there are some rock formations here that form a big part of the story of this area. So that's going to be my plan B, and I think it could actually work out in my favour. Now, regular viewers of my channel may well recognise this location. I've been up here a couple of times and my most popular video was filmed here. This is one of my staple locations, one of the places I come where I know I can get good photography at golden hour, not in the middle of the day like this. But I'll flash up on the screen now a couple of portfolio shots I've got from this location. Hopefully that'll prove to any newcomers that I do know what I'm doing, despite the fact I've come out in the middle of the day on a bright sunny day. I am an actual photographer. I'm just trying something new today. I don't want you to take away from this that I'm trying to accomplish something artistic or anything like that. I'm breaking a lot of rules of landscape photography today. But that's kind of the point. I wanted to do something a bit different. But these rock formations are a very important part of the story behind these mines, which is why I've come up here to photograph. I know I only managed to catch one good mine, but I think with these rock formations, they'll kind of complete the story. Let's get another medium shot of these, and then I'll show you the last type of shot that you need to get for a good documentary series of photos. So now that we've got a couple of our medium angle shots, we can see the story starting to be developed. Now with this story, we've established the location, we've shown what we're shooting in the location. Now is the time for the next type of shot, which is your close-up shot, your sort of tight angle, get in on the details. You can have several of these. I'm just going to try and aim for 2 because I only want a set of 5 images for this particular location. We don't want it to be too long. A 3 is your minimum number for a good documentary series, wide, mid, close, 3 shots. 5, so you've got 1 wide, too mid and too close. That's an ideal amount. I would say 7 at most, because then you go from sort of having a documentary sort of journalistic style to going more of a long story, almost a booklet about a location. So 7 shots at most I think would be ideal. So let's see what we can get if we get real close on these details now. So as you can see behind me, we've got this final detail here. There's this rock formation that juts out, a nice close detail where we can tell the final part of our story. Now earlier when I was down by the other mine shaft, I did get a detail shot of that as well, because I wanted to get 2 detail shots of this location, those 2 different areas. And with this final one, I could cheat here. I've got a couple of pictures of this in really nice golden hour light, which is probably what I should do. If I was taking this really seriously, that's what I would do. But in the interest of honesty to you, my viewers, I'm just going to use the picture I get today in this horrible, harsh light. Just to prove that you can still have a good time doing photography, even if it isn't at golden hour and you don't get any portfolio shots. As you know, I like to teach on this channel, but I also like to demonstrate that photography is about enjoying it, not just about what you can achieve as a photographer. I think it's very important to achieve a high standard and level of photography, but it doesn't always have to be that way. You can rob yourself of a lot of joy if you just take your photography too seriously. So let's get this final shot. We'll collect these photos together and we'll see what sort of documentary we can create out of them.
So here we are back in Lightroom, and this is the collection of images that we got. I had a really good time doing this. I really enjoyed just being out, not thinking too much about getting landscape shot. And although things like light and composition were a strong consideration, it's not as much as in landscape photography. And I think having that freeing nature really helped me to enjoy it a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I still much prefer landscape photography. This was an interesting experience, but it's not the route that I'm going to go down. I am going to write a short article on these on my website. If you want to check it out, visit joshuapeg.com. I'll do a dedicated page to these photos and sort of complete the story by writing an article about it, sort of thing. That's sort of the whole point of this, is to go to a location, take these photos, tell the story, and then share it with others. What do you think about this style of photography? Is it something that you're going to try yourself? Let me know in the comments, because this is something I feel like I should explore a bit more if I really want to get to know it and enjoy it. And just doing something once is never enough to learn if it's really something you want to try. So let me know if you'd like me to see me do this again, maybe do a better job of it, as this was my first time. I don't feel like I've done this justice, and having edited most of the video, I could tell you that it was a lot of hard work, this particular video, trying to blend it together and make some sort of story out of it. I don't know, it was a lot harder than with my normal landscape photography. I hope that hasn't come across too much. But if you want to see the sort of shots you can get in this location if you go at the right time, then watch this video here. I'll see you next time.
Suddenly become the busiest road in all of Shropshire.